If your sales calls constantly feel like uphill battles, it's because you're doing all of the selling on the call. In this video, I'll show you the 3-step system that gets prospects to show up already sold instead of cold, confused, and full of questions and objections. Most founders think they have a sales system. They create the content, they do the outreach, they book calls, and then they try and close those deals. But that's not a proper sales system, that's just the scheduling part. And after auditing around about 100 sales processes for 6 and 7-figure founders, I see this pattern tank close rates over and over again. Prospects show up to sales calls super cold and with zero context. They don't know why they should trust you, they don't know how and if you can actually help them, they haven't been qualified, and they're expecting you to educate them from scratch. So you end up explaining super basic stuff, justifying your price and hearing things like, "Let me think about it," or "Not sure this will work for us," because they're not ready to make a decision. So by the end of this video, you'll have the exact system that does 90% of the heavy lifting before you even speak with a prospect. And you'll want to stick around for this one, because when you nail this, your sales calls stop feeling like uphill battles and start feeling like onboarding calls. The first part of the system fixes a problem you're very likely facing right now. So imagine you own an apple shop and you sell the best apples in town. And at the moment, you're just letting random people walk through your door without knowing exactly why they're there. So you've got some people wandering around looking for bananas, others who aren't even looking for fruit, they actually want chicken, some who don't even have the money to buy anything at all, and then maybe 1 or 2 people who genuinely need your apples. But the problem is, you have no idea which is which. So you're spending your time trying to convince the banana people that apples are actually better. Or you're explaining to the chicken people why fruit is more important for their diet. Or worst of all, you're trying to convince someone with empty pockets to buy your premium apple selection. And then you're wondering why they keep delaying or asking about payment plans and discounts. That's exactly what most founders are doing with their sales calls. And the 3 most common scenarios that I see are the following. They either have no qualification system in place at all, and therefore they have to try and establish if it's a fit on the actual call. Or they do too little qualification, so they just get someone's contact details and maybe ask them what they're looking for. But that isn't proper qualification, that's just the bare minimum. Or they do far too much. So they ask too many unnecessary questions, create far too much friction, and then the buyer gets fed up and doesn't even bother booking a call. So stage 1 is installing the correct strategic qualification process into your sales cycle. And you have to find the right balance in your qualification depending on your service and who you sell to. But there are a few absolute necessities that you should be asking when a lead books in with you in order to help them pre-sell themselves and to give you the ammunition that you need to steer the conversation and ultimately close them. So first, their contact details. Obviously, you're going to need their details in order to contact them. Second, you need context on them. So who they are, who they serve, and what they offer. You want to determine if they are actually your ideal customer profile and if you can actually help them. And this is going to filter out those people who are actually looking for chicken instead of your apples. Third, you need some kind of financial qualification question in there. Now, that could be monthly revenue figure or some kind of disposable income question. But you want to establish if they definitely have the money to actually be able to pay for your service. Because if that's a yes, you know you're speaking with the people who are actually looking for apples and have the resources to pay for them. And if not, you can downsell them into a lower tier package rather than wasting yours and their time on a call. And finally, you need some kind of question to gauge what problems and bottlenecks they're facing. Now, this is to pre-sell them on the fact that they actually have a problem that needs fixing. And it gives you the context and the ammunition that you need to steer the conversation on the actual sales call. Now, you can include other questions too, like what have they tried before, or how ready are they to move forward? And whether you use them or not depends on your offer. But at a bare minimum, make sure you include the 4 that we just covered. And if you want help refining your pre-qualification flow, then I've put a link in the description with a bunch of questions that you can choose from, and you can plug straight into your sales process. So just click the first link for access. But when prospects show up to your calls cold with no real idea of what you do and how you can help them, this second stage fixes that. You don't ever propose on the first date, right? That would be insane. You get to know each other a little bit first. You build trust, you let that relationship develop naturally. But a lot of founders are doing exactly that. They're proposing to their prospects on the sales call. Someone books in after seeing a few pieces of your content or after your outreach, and then nothing happens between them booking and the actual call. And that means you spend the majority of your 45-minute call trying to explain your entire method, proving how it works, handling all of their objections, and basically doing a full pitch presentation. It's like being in a boxing match and you've got one arm tied behind your back. It's making it way too hard for yourself. Of course, they're going to feel like this is too much too soon. So stage 2 is what I call content conditioning. As soon as someone books a call with you, they should then get a sequence of tailored content. So for example, they should be redirected to a page showing your customer testimonials, your case studies, your social proof, and answering any FAQs. They should also be sent a breakdown of how your system actually works. Short videos that gives them clarity and handles key objections so that they don't then come up on the call. Because that way, they already know your fundamentals, your process, your price range, and what your outcomes are. And it saves you the job of explaining it all live on the call. And it gives you more time to dig into discovery and focus on them, their problems, and their ideal outcomes. And when I implement this with my own clients, they almost always instantly see higher show-up rates and higher close rates. Their prospects show up to calls and say things like, "I've watched everything that you sent me, I think I've got a good understanding of how you work, but I'd love to hear a little bit more." Can you feel the difference? That's the power of proper conditioning. You have conversations with much warmer prospects. They're already educated on what you do, who you do it for, and how you can help them. All of the heavy lifting is done, and they're 70 to 80% sold already. So the goal with content conditioning is simple. By the time they join the call, they already trust you. They understand your method and they want the result that you're promising. And when that happens, you just have to help them over the line that last 10 to 20%. Now, the third stage is crucial if you as the founder are the face of your business and you have someone else taking your sales calls. Salespeople, closers, or someone representing your brand and doing the selling for you. So imagine you're watching the movie Titanic and you followed Leonardo DiCaprio as Jack the whole way through. You're fully invested in his story, his struggles, and the relationship with Rose too. Then suddenly, right before the ship sinks, they replace him with Tom Cruise with no warning whatsoever. No explanation, no transition, just a completely different person. You'd be like, wait, what? Super confused, maybe even a little annoyed too. And that's exactly how your prospects feel when they consume your content and they think they've booked a call with you, and then some random team member shows up instead. Now, if you're taking the call yourself, obviously this isn't an issue. But if you're handing sales off to a team member, you cannot assume that the trust that you've built with them through your content just carries over automatically. They booked that call expecting to speak to you. And now some stranger that they've never heard of and never seen before shows up trying to sell them something. So the final step in the system is where you transfer your authority to the salesperson. As soon as someone books, they get a 1 to 2 minute video from the founder introducing that person. Something along the lines of, "Hey, thanks for booking the call. I wanted to send you this very quick video just to introduce you to David. David's been with us now for 3 years and he's personally helped over 150 of our clients get X results. So you're in great hands, and honestly, he knows our system better than I do." When you structure it like this, you're not just palming them off to someone random. You're handing them over to someone who's an integral part of your team, someone with a track record, and someone who's earned your trust. That is what authority transfer looks like. It keeps show rates high, and it builds trust before a single word is spoken, and without you having to show up to every single sales call. And when you can get all 3 of these stages working properly, the prospect knows why they're here, they already believe in the method, and they trust the person that they're speaking to. And the sales call shifts from convincing to confirming. That's the leverage point that most founders are missing. And if you want help installing this, click the second link in the description to book some time with me. But even with perfect prospects showing up, you can still blow the deal if you don't know how to structure the actual sales conversation. Most founders wing it. They jump between discovery and pitching with no structure, no control, and no clear process either. And that's why one week they close at 20% and the next week they close at 5%, and they have no idea why. And if that sounds familiar, watch this video next. It's the full sales process that I use to help founders consistently close 5 to 50K deals. I break down the exact structure, the specific stages, and how to adapt it to whatever it is that you're selling. Because getting them on the call warm is only half the battle. You still need to know how to close them once they're actually there.